Test, 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 test. Hello, ladies. How is everyone today? All right, good. That's great. Today I want to begin by just saying congratulations to the people that are at the very top of the class, and that is Michelle Cujo, Keisha Cyrus Sobit, Amina Ali, Michelle Sandy, Ayana Foster, and Stacy Span Andrews. I congratulate you all on the job. Very well done. I encourage you all to keep working hard through these next few days as we wrap things up. It is not too late for those of you who do not have all of your dictations at the speed that you would like to reflect on your certificate to still do that. So I encourage you all who have not yet earned your certificate of excellence to keep trying to move up. And for those of you who have already earned your certificate of excellence, that being the ladies that I just mentioned, I encourage you to keep practicing as long as you have the benefit of Real-Time Coach, because it's just great practice. And so you've already earned your place. Whatever you do from here on is not going to lessen your place, certainly, but it's such a great resource, and I know that you agree because you guys have taken part in it and seem to have made the most of it, and I'm glad for that. So thank you. I appreciate and was just talking about you all earlier today, and I was really just saying what a pleasure it's been to work with all of you, and how really impressed I've been with how hard you are working and how well you are all succeeding. I know that some of you have had a tougher time than others. That's okay. Not everything is for everyone, and not everything comes to everyone as quickly as it comes to some others. That doesn't mean you won't get there. So I encourage you to keep working. Now, today really is only about you. It's about what questions you would like me to answer, what things you might like me to go over again with you, anything at all. Have you continued to work in the transcriptionist application? Yeah. Are you all feeling pretty comfortable with it? Great. That's great. Good. Now, is there anything that you'd like me to show you again, or questions that you have? The floor is open. You can just unmute yourself if you'd like to talk. Challenges with the mask. Good, good. Let's discuss that then. Not able to import after exporting. Okay, that's a good one too. Who was it that I worked with and helped you export and import? Was that you, Juanita? Yes. Okay, good, good. I thought so. And we got it to work just fine. So we can do that. Again, I can go through it with you. First, I would like to talk about the mask. There are a few things that that does become a challenge when you go from headset to mask. I'm sure you've all been learning exactly what those challenges are in this last week. The first thing for me, 20 years ago, when I was given my first mask and told to learn how to use it, I'm a claustrophobic person. I don't like small places, and I never would have thought that putting a mask on my face would affect me the way it did. but it did affect me. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I got a little anxious, and I had a very difficult time. I'd have to keep taking it away from my face. Now, back then, the mask was so huge that it covered this whole part of my face. So it was covering both my nose and my mouth. Yours, fortunately, is only covering your mouth, so you can still breathe through your nose. And I use the exact same mask that you're using. And I find it easy to move my mouth. One of the things that you will notice is that when you first start using a mask, you're not moving your mouth as much as you normally do when you are just speaking with a headset on. Speaking with a headset on, I'm sure you will all agree, is very near normal speech, except for the fact that you're having to speak very fast now. Aside from that, it's just like speaking normally. You can breathe through your nose, you can breathe through your mouth, either one, it doesn't matter. With the mask, that's not the case because your mouth is covered. So you're sort of forced to breathe through your nose. And if you are a person like me who has allergies and your nose can be stopped up sometimes, breathing through your nose can be a very difficult thing then. And so what I had to learn was what is called tilt breathing. And tilt breathing is when you take the mask and you basically just sort of open it up to the side or like this beneath, or even just pull it away from your face a little bit so that you can get fresh air in the mask. Because remember, when we speak, we expel carbon monoxide, not oxygen. So if you keep that mask, on your face and you're breathing that expelled air in, you're going to get dizzy after a little while. So it's really, really important to let fresh air into your mask. Now, someone asked me, I think it might have been Stacy, that asked me earlier this week, Adria, what are those sponges for? Very good question. So the sponges, the whole idea of the sponge, when you get it, it's just a piece of yellow, flattened, it almost looks like cardboard, right? But if you take that orange sponge, and we gave you several little pieces, and you run it under water, it'll expand. And then you wring it out tightly with your hand so that as much water as you can get out comes out of it. And then you put it inside your mask at the bottom where the wires lead out of the mask. And the reason for that yellow sponge is being wet, especially, is that it absorbs more moisture when it is damp than when it is dry. That's why we wet it first. Now, you will learn as you use the mask that, and I didn't know this when I first started using the mask. I didn't realize that as I spoke, that I was not only expelling air, but moisture. I had no clue. But you start speaking into those masks and you figure that out really quickly, don't you? That the moisture, you'll feel your skin wet inside the mask. And that's just all the moisture. That's another reason that you should try to tilt and let the old air out and new air in as you're dictating. Now, what most reporters do, because they can be dictating for hours and hours, and so will you. The only difference is you will be able to put your mask down and take a break and do correction whenever you want to, whereas court reporters don't have that luxury. They have to talk as long as they're on the record. And so in that way, you have a benefit because you were given several of the gray sponges and several of the yellow sponges. Now the gray, a sponge, the gray is actually foam. And you only need to put one piece of foam in there at a time. So you'll put one damp yellow sponge and one foam in there. And what the foam does is it absorbs the sound. Because if you don't have the sponge inside your mask and you try dictating like that, you are going to see that Dragon is going to notice a tremendous difference. Because when you speak inside the mask and your voice hits that plastic back, what happens? No, it should not cover the mic. That's a great question. It should not cover the mic. Neither one of them. The wet one goes at the bottom and the dry foam goes at the top to the other side of the mic. Because the whole idea is for it to just absorb some sound. Because when it hits that plastic, it starts bouncing all over inside that mask. And Dragon will hear it as an echo rather than primary speech. Okay, so all of us have different levels of moisture. Some of us put out a lot of moisture when we speak. Some of us don't put out as much. What I encourage you to do is always have a Ziploc bag with you. Two of them, actually. One for your dry, clean sponges and foam, and one for your wet and used sponges and foam. Because I think about every 2 hours, you will want to take out your sponge and your foam and put in a dry set of sponge and foam. And you can just go to the bathroom, when you are changing them out, take them out of your mask, leave your mask face up so that the mic can dry inside. Go to the bathroom and just wash your used sponge and foam with a small bit of hand soap. Wash it by hand, rinse it out, and then leave it on your desk to dry while you're using the other set. And if you keep changing them out every 2 to 3 hours, you will find that you'll have a better result, and you will also keep yourself a little healthier. When you are ill, please change out your foam and your sponge more often, and make sure to wash it with antibacterial soap so that you don't reinfect yourself. If you have a little virus or something, you need to stop the cycle. So aside from that, the other important thing about the mask that you should know is that you should not have to speak any louder than you speak inside with your headset inside the mask. As a court reporter, if you were doing court reporting inside a courtroom, then you would have to be silent. No one could hear you outside that mask because that would disrupt the court. But because you have the benefit of being transcriptionist, it's not that you want to be silent in the mask. You just do not want your microphone inside the mask to hear the person next to you. You want it only to hear your voice. And so that is what you want to do. Just speak at the normal volume. I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of people, when they start talking faster, they get louder. And so sometimes you have to tell yourself, okay, let me lower my voice, because if Dragon is used to hearing you at one volume and you raise the volume tremendously, you'll see a drop in your accuracy, because Dragon's going to say, hey, that's not the way you've been talking to me. I need you to talk to me the way you've been talking to me. And so just try to use about the same level. Okay, the question, which side is face up? The part against your mouth or the part facing front? Face up would be so that the part that touches your face is up. That way air can get in and try to dry it during the times that you're not dictating. One of the great benefits of being a transcriptionist is that you can dictate for however long you want, then you can stop dictating, put your mask down, take a break, and do correction or editing. And that way you're still being productive, you're still getting that transcript done, but you're taking time out of your dictation time so that you're doing some dictation time and some correction time and some editing time. Excuse me. Now, what I would like to do is show you how to export and import your user. So I'm going to close out of Transcriptionist. And I'm going to open up Dragon, then I'll share that Dragon screen with you. Okay. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to go about this slowly so that you can either make notes or do it with me. And I don't mind doing it twice so that you can make notes once and then do it yourself the second time. Okay. So I've opened up Dragon Naturally Speaking, and I'm going to go to Profile, and I'm going to click on Manage User Profiles. And most of you probably are not going to have as many profiles as me. Don't worry about that. You don't have to have a lot of profiles. I just do a lot of different work with a lot of different people, so I have to have multiple ones. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take my headset, and that's the one that's highlighted, and I'm going to export it. And that's exactly what you want to do. You want to take your headset user, your first user, and you're going to click on Advanced and Export. That's going to bring up a dialog box that basically asks us, where do you want to put this? And so I always go to my Documents folder, and I have created a folder called DNS 15 User Profiles, or you could call it DNS User Profiles, DNS User Exports, anything like that would be fine. I see that there's a chat question. Let me see what that is. Oh, thank you. You're not seeing what, okay. It must not be showing this one then. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to cancel. Okay, so here I am. Now you're seeing the right box, right? So I have my headset user selected. Okay, I'm going to click on Advanced and Export. And it's going to bring up the Browse for Folder dialog. And I go to my Documents here. And I've created a folder called DNSI 15 User Profiles. You may have one called DNS User Exports. That'll do. As long as you know that it's for Dragon, you could call it Dragon User Exports. It only has to mean something to you. If you do not have a DNS folder yet, there's this button here at the bottom of the screen in the lower left-hand corner, Make New Folder. So you can click on that and type in Dragon User Exports. That way, that is where your exports will always go. Since I already have the folder, I'm just going to click on that folder, and then I'm going to click on OK. And then it gives me this little export of user profile is complete. I'm going to click on OK. So now we've exported our first user profile. So what we want to do is now we want to import it, but this time we're going to import it with a different name. So without leaving this dialog box, I'm going to click on Advanced, and I'm going to click on Import. And then I'm going to go right back to Documents and look for that Dragon User Profile Export folder here. And it's my headset user that I want to bring in. So I'm going to click on my user that I want to import, and I'm going to click on OK. Okay, and now it says user profile already exists. The user profile you have chosen to import, Adria headset, already exists. What would you like to do? Overwrite the existing profile? No. What we want is to import the user profile with an alternate name. So now what I'm going to do is, instead of Adria headset, I'm going to call this Adria mask. And I'm going to click on OK. That happens pretty quickly. And now I have Adria mask. So that's good. Now I'm going to click on Close. And I'm going to go up to the Dragon bar. And I'm going to click on Profile. Open User Profile. And again, my user profiles come up. And this time, I'm going to select Adria mask. And I'm going to click on Open. So it's loading my user profile. Okay, you're not seeing my Dragon bar. You should be seeing my Dragon bar. Okay, this is a good question. At this point, what do you have plugged in? Both the mask and the headset? Yes, because you are going to listen via your headset, and you can just put your boom microphone all the way up to get it out of your way so that you can utilize your mask. So now we want to click on Profile, Manage Dictation Sources. Now for you, what you should be seeing is both your sound card, which for me is the Realtek high definition audio, and you should also be seeing your Andrea Com Pure Audio SA. So you would need to click on the Andrea Com. I'm going to click on add a new dictation source here because it's not listing my Logitech, and that's what I need it to list. Here you go. This is the choose dictation source window, and this is my dictation source, my Logitech wireless headset, whereas for you it's going to be the Andrea Com Pure Audio USB SA. And then you're going to click on next. You're going to see that it's going to say Dragon is customizing itself for you. Okay, if it does not recognize the mask, first question is your mask plugged in? Now, the second question is, when you look at the Pure Audio SA device, the USB device that your mask is plugged into, it has a small blue light on it. And then at the end, where your mask is plugged in, there's a pink port and a green port. You must be plugged into the pink port. Your mask must be plugged into the pink port of the Pure Audio USB device. Now, is it recognizing? Are you seeing Andrea Com Pure Audio SA? I'm going to click on finish. Okay, is everyone's mask being recognized? Yes. Okay, great. Great. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it will stop. Okay, that's a very good point. And there's something we all need to do to make sure that your USB, it recognized after you took out the headset. It should be able to recognize with the headset plugged in because you're using a totally different port. Your mask must be plugged in to that little Pure Audio that came with it. It came attached. So your mask should be plugging in to a USB port on your computer. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go and set your USB device that your mask is plugged to so that it does not fall asleep. So I'd like for you to all, let's see, let me minimize this. Okay, I'd like for you all to click on the start button, the Windows button in the lower left-hand corner. and click on Settings. Yes, your masks must be plugged in. And ladies, it's very important that wherever you plug in your masks, you plug it into that same place every single time. So make a decision on where you want that mask. And that's where you always need to plug it in. Now, beneath the word Windows Settings, type in Device Manager and hit Enter. Okay, Maureen says, I can't hear when my mask is on. Okay, so here's what we need to do. In the lower right-hand corner of your screen, you should see a small speaker. Right-click on that speaker. It's to the left of the date and time. And click on Playback Devices. You should see both your Andrea Com Pure Audio SA and your sound card, which for me is the Realtek High Definition. So I want you to click on the one that's opposite of your Andrea Com Pure Audio SA. The other one will be your sound card. You want to right click on your sound card and click on Set as Default Device. Right click on it again, and it should say Configure Speakers Test Disable, Show Disabled Devices, Show Disconnected Devices, About Software, MIDI Synthesizer, and Properties. So as long as you see the little green circle with the white check mark next to your sound card and you click on OK, you should be able to have your headset in and you should be hearing me through your headset. And you should also have your mask plugged in. Now, let's go back to the device manager. Double click on that. Okay, I'm going to repeat what I just said, but keep in mind that you can't do this until you have the mask plugged in. But for now, I need you to just listen and watch so that you can do it after you plug in the mask, because you must do it after you plug in the mask in order for it to work. So we're going to go all the way down. I'm going to minimize everything else. Let's see. I'm going to exit out of Dragon. Okay, so Okay, are you seeing the little speaker in the lower right-hand corner next to the time? Right-click on that speaker, and you're going to click on Playback Devices. Right now, if your mask is unplugged, all you're going to see is your sound card, which is what your headset's plugged into. It may be Realtek, it may be Connexent, it may be high definition audio, plenty of things it could be. Right-click and click on Set as Default Device. I'm going to change mine so that I can show you. Okay, so the Logitech wireless headset for me is like your mask is for you. It's using a different USB device. So what I want to do is I want to right-click on my sound card, click on Set as Default Device. Then I'm going to right-click on it again and Set as Default Communication Device. Now, when you're ready, you're going to need to leave this box up. Okay, you are seeing the sound box. Okay, so if you plug in your mask now, the Andrea Com Pure Audio SA will show up. Right-click on the speaker in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. Click on Playback Devices. You should see your sound card and the Andrea Com Pure Audio SA. Right-click on the sound card and then click on Set as Default Device. Right-click on the sound card again and click on Set as Default Communication Device. Done with that. Now you should all have your masks plugged in as well as your headsets, and you should be hearing me through your headsets. So now we can click on OK and exit the sound dialog. Super. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to Device Manager. I'll start that from the beginning as well. We'll go to Tools, settings and type in device manager. It'll show the words device manager, double click on it. Now, this controls everything in your computer. So what we're going to be looking at is under the very last topic, universal serial bus controllers. And you're going to look for something called USB root hub. Right click on that and click on properties. And there should be a power management tab. Over here to the left, there's a box with a check mark in it. And it says allow the computer to turn off this device to save power. That is why your USB goes away. You do not want that checked. So uncheck it and click on OK. And now your USB should stop doing what we refer to as going to sleep. Any questions on that? Okay. So that is going to keep your USBs from going to sleep. Now, what I'd like to do is I'd like to return, we could do it in Dragon, but we can also do it in Transcriptionist. So I'm just going to go ahead and open up Transcriptionist, I'd like you all to do that as well. And the very last icon you see is called Scratchpad. If you would click on that and open it. I think the blue light blinks when the Pure Audio essay is plugged in and might stay solid when you're dictating. But usually it will blink. That's not a problem. Okay, so I'm waiting for my speech engine to load in Scratchpad. When it brings up your user profile, I want you to select your mask profile. That's okay. Test, test. Okay, is there anyone aside from Michelle Sandy that is not hearing through their headphones? Michelle, I want you to right click on the lower right hand corner. Let me make sure that you're seeing my screen. Yeah, okay. Okay, so right click on the speaker, click on playback devices. Okay. Okay, Michelle Cujo, are you still not hearing Simone? Okay, I see Michelle Sandy's hearing now. Michelle and Simone, Michelle Cujo and Simone, do you guys need me to repeat it? Go to playback devices, select the sound card, which for you should be the only other thing you see aside from your Andrea Pure Audio. So left click one time on speakers and whatever your sound card name is, right click and click on set as default device. Then you can right click again and do set as default communication device. And then click on OK. And now tell me if you are hearing Michelle and Simone. It went silent. Michelle Cujo. Sounds like you have a short in your headset if you were hearing and then it just went silent. Or did it go silent after you changed the settings? Okay. Okay. I don't have an answer, so I'm just moving on. Okay, so what we need to do is make sure that this new user profile recognizes our speaker markers, our question and answer markers, and all of that. So I am going to exit out of Scratchpad so I can go right back in and select my mask user so that I can show you. So we need to make sure that we don't start dictating until we see both the green bar and the blue bar go away and we see the words topic ready. Now here it's asking me to add documents, but I'm not going to do that, not at this time. So I'm going to tell it not to remind me again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my microphone and I'm going to test all my markers, and you will do the same. So let's all do that. Speed 1, speed 2, speed 3, speed 4, speed 5, speed 6, speed 7, speed 8, speed 9, speed 10. It looks like I haven't even added the markers in here. So you are all testing. I'm going to go ahead and add my marker file. Now I'm going to go and train them. I've opened the vocabulary editor. I'm going to show custom words only. And I'm going to go and train my words. Eco, recesso, sco, benchco, jerko, ocho, indo, eco, lambda, mega, jorda, beta, dila, dy, falala, isco, casemac, shazam, no, coco, cuco, humac, roco, sin, sinning, speed 1, speed 10, speed 11, speed 12, speed 13, speed 14, speed 15, speed 16, speed 17, speed 18, speed 19, speed 19, speed 2, SB20, SB3, SB4, SB5, SB6, SB7, SB8, SB9, SSMQ, Stitcher, Stitch it, time code, Trend 1, Trend 10, Trend 11, Trend 12, Trend 13, Trend 14, Trend 15, Trend 16, Trend 17, Trend 18, Trend 19, Trend 2, Trend 20, Trend 3, Trend 4, Trend 5, Trend 6, Trend 7, Trend 8, Trend 9. Okay, and then we save. And I'm going to close out of here. I'm going to turn on the mic again, and I'm going to test my markers again. I'm going to say each one 3 times, then I'm going to say the command new line, and then I'll say the next marker. Kiko, 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 new line. Echo, 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 new line. SB1, 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 new line. SB2, 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 new line. SB3, 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 new line. SB4, 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 new line. SB4, SB5, SB5, SB5. SB6, SB6, SB6. SB7, SB7, SB7. SB8, SB8, SB8. SB9, SB9, SB9. SB10, SB10, SB10. SB11, SB11, SB11. SB12, SB12, SB12. SB13, SB13, SB13. SB14, SB14, SB14. SB15, SB15, SB15. SB16, SB16, SB16. QMAC, QMAC, QMAC. AMAC, AMAC, AMAC. Okay, so I've got some things to resolve. Okay, I'm going to return to the vocabulary editor right now. And I'm going to retrain SPE4, SPE7 for sure. QCO, QCO, QCO. QCO, QCO, QCO. QMAC, QMAC, QMAC. AMAC, AMAC, AMAC. ACO, ACO, ACO. Okay, this is a great example of something that we could delete, or we could simply make a real-time rule for it. So we could say, when you see, I'm going to go to real-time rules, and I'm going to add a word or phrase, and I want to replace a Mac with asterisk a asterisk space unless a Mac computer. I'm going to do add rule, and that should fix that for me right there. Okay, so now I can go to Open Vocabulary Editor. Oh, can't go into Vocabulary Editor with the mic on. Okay, so I'm going to search for a Mac. Okay, I'm going to go back to custom words only now. And I believe I was having a problem with SPE4. So I'm going to go and find SPE4. And I'm going to go retrain that. SPE4. 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 Everyone should be testing their markers right now, making sure that they look like the written form. Speak four, speak four, speak four, new line. Okay, I got my speaker 4 working. Doesn't look like my speaker 7, 9, or 10 worked. So back we go. Seven, train. B7, B7. B7. And I believe speed 9 is not working. Speed 9, speed 9, speed 9, speed 9. Speed 9. Speed 9. Okay. I don't see any speed 10, so I'm going to retrain that too. Speed 10. Speed 10. Speed 10. Okay. So now I need a test. Speed 7, speed 9, and speed 10. Speed 7, speed 7, speed 7. 9. Speed 9, speed 9, speed 9. 9. Speed 10, speed 10, speed 10. 9. Now, once I feel like my markers are working, I'm going to turn off my microphone and I'm going to save my speech files. That way Dragon learns from what I've done. Okay, I've just been giving you all some time to do some testing on your markers and some correction on your markers. So, have you all done that? Are your markers all working for your mask? Okay, for some. And the secret to making all of your markers work is not only retraining them, but correcting them. And remember that when you're doing correction on speakers, you have to correct to the written form, which is what you see here, the asterisk Q asterisk asterisk A asterisk asterisk speaker one asterisk and so on and so forth. The same thing is true for your untranslates. You need to train those. So I'm going to go ahead and test my untranslates now. I want you to each have, at least a few speakers, a few untrans and Q&A working. Just a few markers. As long as I know that you know how to make them work, it's not imperative that we go on and on with this. However, it is important that you know how to make them work. So I'm going to test my untranslates now. Run one, run one, run one. New line. Run two, run two, run two. New line. Run three, run three, run three. New line. Run four, run four, run four. New line. Run five, run five, run five. New line. Run one, run one, run one. New line. Run two, run two, run two. New line. Run six, run six, run six. New line. Run seven, run seven, run seven. New line. Run eight, run eight, run eight. New line. Run nine, run nine, run nine. New line. Okay, I see that some of you are still having trouble with the mask. Would you be more descriptive about what kind of trouble you are having? Michelle, Sandy, you having problems with the mask? Okay, and is she plugged into the pink port of the Pure Audio? Okay. Michelle, Sandy, would you please double click on Teamviewer so I can come in to your computer? And if you would just give me your password. Now, ladies, it is harder to get the mask to work than it is with the headset. The headset's very easy to use. And so it's very common that we sometimes have problems with the mask. Okay, so it's not laying down anything at all for you. Okay, you've got another USB device. Okay, Michelle, would you read what you're seeing? Michelle, which is your primary user? Okay, everyone. I want to show you how to repair Dragon because something's really wrong here. So you're all seeing Michelle's desktop, and she's getting an error. Okay, so what I'm going to do, so I'm going to go to the File Explorer. I'm going to go to Downloads. Okay, maybe it's in Documents. Okay, it's actually on the desktop in a folder called AudioScribe Software Installation Files. And you'll see Dragon Professional 15 Individual. I'm going to double click on it. It's going to come up and I'm going to click on Install. At some point, it's going to give me the option to modify, repair, or remove. Michelle, I'm going to save your Word document because I need to close Word. Here we are, modify, repair, or remove. I'm going to click on repair and then next. Okay, Michelle, I'm going to restart you. Okay, ladies, I know that we're running up on our time here, but it's very important that you understand that dragon can become corrupted, and that does not necessarily mean that you have done anything wrong. Sometimes dragon is just, well, it's finicky and things can happen. The dragon repair and a dragon uninstall and reinstall, one of those things is sometimes necessary. And these things are not difficult to do, but they're scary when you first ever try to do them, okay? And so if you have problems like Michelle's having right now, it may very well be that we don't even fix her by doing this repair. I may have to uninstall the whole product and reinstall it. It's important that you know that when you do a repair or an uninstall and a reinstall, Dragon will always ask you in an uninstall and reinstall if you want to keep your Dragon user profile. So you should always say yes. There are times when keeping it won't save it, but fortunately, you guys were taught early on how to export your Dragon user profile. And I noticed while I was looking on Michelle's computer that she has several exports of her user profile. And that is wonderful news because that means that even if her user profile is corrupted, and it may very well be because of that error message. I don't know if you all saw it, but it was just a big, um, sort of detailed error message. And often when we get that message, a user profile has become corrupt. But that's no need to worry as long as you have been exporting your user profile on a regular basis, because we can delete the profile that's in Dragon and import an older one. And so that's why early on we taught you about Dragon and how these things sometimes become necessary. So I'm going to go back into Michelle's computer and I'm going to share the screen with you all again because while poor Michelle is probably not enjoying this at all, it is a good learning experience for the rest of us. So I'm going to minimize this here and I'm going to go back into Dragon. And my purpose here is to see if, oh, I don't think I shared the screen. Let me do that. Okay, so I'm going to try to open her favorite user because I'd like to see if that's going to work now. I'm going to open up the Dragon Pad. Michelle, you should have your headset on. Just go ahead and dictate. Test, test. This is a test. It's not saying what you're saying. I see. Okay. Excuse me for just a minute while I go and look at your user profiles that I found. I want to get the date on all of them so that I know which one is the best one, just in case we need to re-import. Okay, so this one is from 10/2. You have this one. Okay, this one is actually just from a few days ago. So that is probably going to be the best one. Okay. So what I'm gonna do,
I'll probably bite you.
I know it's time for you all to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and dismiss class
Adrian,
unless you guys, yes.
before you leave, what Ayana and I would like to know, um, when it is we go into transcriptionist to dictate. I don't know why it's so loud on you.
But I lower it down.
What to know? No, yes,
Okay, what is it?
yes. But we want to find out when we go into transcriptionist to transcribe, and yeah, somebody has my phone, and then let's say we exit because we finished for the day, but then we want to go back in to continue. Why it keeps going back up to the beginning and not to the end where we could probably continue at the time we left off?
Oh, in the transcriptionist application,
Yes.
it's not marking your proper place
Yes.
where you left off.
Right.
Okay. It should be. So I will report that. That must be a bug because it should go back to where you left it. Anything else?
Hi, Adria.
Yes.
Hi, in real time coach.
Yes.
When you are dictating, sometimes the words when you're dictating, they all come together. Like there's no spaces. So when you click for check the transcript, now it's saying like 2%, 0%, because the words are not coming up individually.
Okay. What we need to make sure of is that, remember in Dragon Naturally Speaking, when we first create a user, we have to go in and remove some Dragon commands. I'm going to go to the vocabulary editor. Let me make sure that you guys can see. Okay, so in the vocabulary editor, please go to the bottom where it says display and click on deleted words only. If, like mine, you see nothing there, then you need to delete some Dragon commands. So click on the drop down next to display and click on words with spoken forms only. And these words, specifically the thing that you're having a problem with, is this: no space. You want to delete that. No space on. You want to delete that. And you probably want to delete the no break, non-breakable, and unbreakable space as well. I usually delete the cap next and caps on, because Transcriptionist is going to do a lot of the capitalizing for you when you create a new sentence, especially if you're using punctuation. So you might want to delete all of those. No space and no space on and non-breakable spaces are probably the cause of your problem there. And remember that once you um, exit out of the vocabulary editor and you're back up here just at the dragon bar, please remember that you need to click on profile, save user profile, in order to be sure that those commands do not come back.
Hello, Adria.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. Sometimes when I'm dictating at night as well, the dictation skips and it starts spreading out like single line, and then a big paragraph would be missed, and I don't know if that's something wrong with the site or something.
Yes, we've noticed that too with Real Time Coach, and we've reported it to them, and their statement to us is really not something I'm very pleased with. You know, their thought is, well, maybe they just don't have fast enough internet. And I really don't think that's the case
I don't think that's the
because
case
we
either.
see it here in the States too.
Okay.
It's not just you guys.
Okay.
So, some of them I've seen it happen myself. So there's really nothing I can do about it
Okay.
except for report it to Real Time Coach.
Mhm.
And sometimes they'll say, oh, do this, but most of the time they say, oh, just use a different video, which is
Okay.
unfortunate, but
All right.
that's the
Thank
best
you.
I can do. You're welcome. Anybody else?
Okay, Adria, the class wants to say Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And you all have a great week. And we will meet next Wednesday again. And at
Adria,
that, yes.
this is Amina. Michelle wants to know what's going to happen with her laptop when it's going to be continued the progress.
Well, if she's going to be staying where she is, I can dial back in before she leaves, or
Yes.
if she is going to be going home, maybe she could Skype me when she gets home and I could dial in and finish what I'm doing.
She would stay.
She would stay.
Yes, she would stay.
Okay, perfect. I can do that.
Thank you, Adria.
Oh, you're so welcome. Okay, you guys, well, I'm going to end the meeting. And Michelle, I'm going to try to dial right back into you. So when we close the meeting, would you please make sure that TeamViewer is still up? And if it's a different password, would you Skype it to me, please? And to the rest of you, have a wonderful week.